Inspiration comes in many ways. Maybe you've seen something in nature or gone to a great concert or seen some great artwork. Whatever it is, it gives you lots of energy. And there are ways in yoga that we can also get this nice burst of energy by creating a little bit more movement in the spine and movement in the shoulders to get length on the front side of the body. We'll begin the practice in all fours position. For this practice, you may want to grab blocks and a strap. If you don't have them, we can improvise. In all fours position, with your hands nice and wide apart, your toes tucked under, draw your pelvis back and forward. Draw your shoulders slightly more forward so that you can get a nice opening in the upper chest. With the toes tucked under, draw the pelvis back. Inhale, lift up, come forward. One more time. Draw back, come forward. A slight bend to the elbows will help. Now step your right foot right between your hands. If you've got blocks, this might be a great time to use them. Draw your pelvis down. From here, extend both arms up and release your hands down. Now interlace your fingers. Draw your pelvis back so that now your left hip is right over your left knee. With your fingers interlaced behind your back, hug your elbows in, have a slight bend to the elbows. Draw your heart down so that your right shoulder is just inside your right knee. Lift your interlaced fingers away from your low back. Draw your heart forward and down. Release your hands back to the mat or blocks and step your left foot forward. Draw your pelvis down, reach your arms up so you feel inspired by this fullness that you get just by reaching your arms up as you draw your pelvis down toward the earth and gaze toward the sky. Release your hands now to the blocks or the floor. Draw back so that your right hip is now over your right knee. Take your hands to your low back or interlace your fingers. Press your knuckles to your low back. Draw your heart down. Keep squeezing your elbows in toward one another. If you'd like to free your interlaced fingers, reach them up and back. And slowly release yourself out of the pose. Come to all fours position. In all fours position, tuck your toes under, draw your pelvis back toward your heels, walk your hands toward your knees. See if you can free your hands from the floor. If you feel like this is too much for your knees, then by all means, keep your hands to the floor. Interlace your fingers again. Reach your interlaced fingers up toward the sky and stretch the sides of the body by reaching over to the right. If your heels are spreading away from each other, see if you can hug them in toward the midline of your mat. Go to the opposite side. Just stretch the right side ribs. Come back to the center position. Place your hands down to the mat, walk them forward, come to downward facing dog or puppy dog pose. So you can leave your knees on the mat if that works better for you. If you're in downward facing dog, bend your knees, lift your heels, and move your pelvis side to side, just as a way to wag your dog tail here to get that fullness of the sides of the body we've been working on. Whether you're in all fours position or downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up and bend your right knee. So you really open the side body even more by stretching from the knee all the way to the pelvis, pelvis all the way to the armpit. Release your right foot down as a way to open up the front body, to really inspire you to create more fullness to the front side of the body. Really open up in your practice. Release your left foot down. Walk your feet to your hands. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Reach your hands up to the sky and slightly back. Exhale, take your hands to the earth. Step back to all fours or plank position, your choice. Lower yourself to the mat. On the mat, bend your knees. Reach your hands straight back. You can hold on to your shins or your ankles or the tops of the feet if you wish, or just free your hands from your feet. You'll still get a nice opening as you reach back and lift up. Exhale, come down. 2 more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. Release your feet to the earth. Take your hands alongside your ribs. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften. Inhale, rise up. Keep your elbows bent. Exhale, soften. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Come through all fours position to downward facing dog, and in downward facing dog, walk your hands back to your feet. Place your hands to your low back with knees bent. Rise up. Yoga allows us to create more freedom in our physical body, and through that freedom, we're inspired. We're enthusiastic about change. We like to explore and discover. Let's explore further elongation of the front side of the body through standing poses. Step wide on your mat. Turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee. Now open the chest nicely by taking the hands right to the shoulders. Reach your elbows back. So you get this nice opening to the upper chest. Keep that and take your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. With your fingers interlaced, bend your knee a little bit deeper. With your knuckles pressing the low back, draw your heart down toward the right inner knee. Just soften nicely. Maybe you can reach your interlaced fingers away from the low back. Maybe you can draw your heart a little bit closer to the earth. Place your hands to the low back and rise up. Come out of the pose. Release your hands and turn your left toes out. If you've got a strap and it's easier for you to hold on to the strap than interlace your fingers, by all means, use your strap. Bend your left knee. Take your hands once again right at the deltoids. Draw the elbows back slightly so you feel nice lengthening here. You feel the scapula, the shoulder blades hug in. From there, interlace your fingers behind your back, grab your strap. As you hug the elbows in toward one another, let the heart just softly, easily, slowly draw down toward the inner knee. Keep a nice strength to the back leg. Maybe draw a little bit lower in your pose. Take your interlaced fingers up toward the sky. Inhale, rise up, come out of the pose. Release your hands and come to a kneeling position. In your kneeling position, step your right foot forward. And just as we did before, pelvis right over the left knee. Right knee right over the right ankle. Reach back and take hold of your heel. Now for some of us, that's not so convenient. So a block might be easier, might be more convenient for you. So whichever works for you, hand to the block, hand to the heel. Take your right arm up, plug in, draw from the fingertips down through the shoulders. Reach your arm up and over. And just notice the fullness you have in the front side of the body. It's so invigorating to open the front body in this way. Inhale and lift yourself up out of the pose. Come to the opposite side by stepping your left foot forward. The right toes can be tucked under. You can reach back to the heel if you wish. Take your left arm up and plug in, draw in from the fingertips to the heart. Create this nice openness all the way from the right knee out through the left fingertips. Feel this nice expansiveness. Inhale and rise up to come out of the pose. Let's come to a seated pose. In the seated pose, with your feet forward, place your hands back, bend your elbows, draw your elbows in to lift your heart. The front part of the body that we've been working on to expand so fully. See if you can expand the upper chest even more. Maybe bend your elbows. Again, hug the elbows in toward each other. Just get that fullness. You can bend your knees and place your feet about hip distance apart. Keep that fullness in the pose. Stay here, or if you wish, lift your pelvis up and get this nice fullness, this work that we've been doing. Just expand so fully. Release your pelvis down and come to lie on your back. As you lie on your back, you might want to use the blocks again. So you can bend your knees and come to a bridge pose or a supported bridge pose. The support comes from the blocks underneath your pelvis. And you have this nice openness to the upper chest. Or without the blocks, you have a nice bridge pose. You breathe in deep and out long. Keep a nice ease to the breath. A nice softness to the facial muscles. And in your own time, you can make your way back to the mat, to stretch your legs out, to release your arms to your sides. Close your eyes. Take this moment to enjoy the inspired feeling you get from the practice. Just a few minutes on the mat. You feel so much more energized. dullness has slipped away. You're ready to explore. It's time to discover. It's time to create. That space for growth. Enjoy this time of rejuvenation. Namaste.